Financing your next billion gain insights into successful engagements with venture capitalists and investors. Get ahead of industry trends, hear from industry leaders, influencers, founders, policymakers, and governments. Stay in the know on how to finance your next billion.
Welcome to the show, Financing Your Next Billion, where you will find inside tips on how to get to your next billion on whatever your project is, whatever your dream is. We can help you with that. So come on in and let's talk. I'm Yvonne Gamble, and I am here with my co-host of the show, and that's Jerome Curry. So Jerome, tell me what's the good word? What's going on today out there in the world? We've seen a lot of stuff go on here in these United States. So what are some of your thoughts, and how is that going to shape us up coming into 2021 for financing?
Absolutely. I'll say this. There's a Chinese symbol. They said the Chinese symbol is danger, and on the other side of that symbol is opportunity. And so I think that's probably one of the best ways to look at what we have right now. Where we have a lot of tension, a lot of things going on. I think there's also an opportunity to really for influencers to step up and fill in the gap like never before. So what I'm sensing for this year, you're going to see more of a move towards unity, because of course the more unified you are, the quicker decisions can be made, and the more that you have relationships in place, the more things can get done on a faster basis. So I'm thinking with everything the way that it's heading, I believe that we're going to see more relationships start to solidify. And I believe in the financing world, you're going to see deals get done a lot faster just because the tension is starting to, I believe the tension is going to start to go down, and people are going to start to reach out more towards relationships. We also have also very keeping our eyes on as well how many people get the vaccine, and hopefully sometime towards this year, moving towards a new normal. And you're having the hospitality industry was pretty much crushed during these times, so they're having to rethink things. But if the hospitality industry can kind of get back going, that would again have more reasons for financial incentives for investors. So just looking at some different things and really kind of wait and see and planning and putting things together. I think that's what everyone's doing right now.
Okay, well that's very interesting. I know you're probably absolutely right, because last year in 2020, the VCs, the venture capitalists, and angel investors kind of they headed for the hills as soon as shutdown came about, and then everybody began the business pivots. So we've got a lot of businesses out there looking to say, I'm pivoting. I was speaking to an art group yesterday, and they were, asking questions, what can we do, as artists and entertainers, what have you. That seems to be one of the first things public relations kind of goes out the door as far as spending is concerned. So what are some of your thoughts as far as what can you do if you're in those industries, which are kind of like some of the last industries to actually get dollars? What can some of them do to kind of push themselves up to the top and to the front of that list?
Absolutely. I think now even more than ever, you have to have in place a digital marketing strategy, because the strategies that you utilized before in being able to get in front of a crowd, those strategies probably aren't working very well right now, and there's no time frame on when things are going to normalize for you to return back to those strategies. So what you have to do is shift and pivot towards a new normal. And what I would consider is really maximizing on a digital marketing strategy, utilizing, putting together an email list, putting together some type of content, getting together with maybe a university to see what their social media interns are doing, and see if they can help you to come up with a strategy or some type of process to help grow your list and grow your influence. I think right now this is the time of influence. If you do not have a solid social media plan in place, then you're going to really you may struggle, especially as an artist. And so I've seen some very unique things done very recently by artists who have come together, and they've kind of taken they've taken the pandemic and kind of turned it on its head a bit, and are profiting very well. One of the groups, they have the Keep Your Distance comedy show, and so basically it's an entire comedy show where there may be 2 or 3 or 4 people in the audience, but they've got a live live comedy show going, and they have different comedians to come up, of course, tell the jokes. They've got a very small live audience, sometimes maybe just family members, but it's done on a professional stage. It's a professional presentation, and they market out tickets for their live stream. So what does that do then? Well, that means for that artist, that gives you an opportunity to maybe participate in that live stream, bringing your followers, bringing your audience to that particular that online live stream, and now you can take advantage of some of the media and public relations that comedy show is getting. So that's just one way, but there are a lot of different ways. I think you have to really start to look at how can you be creative. And the other thing is, don't lose hope. If you can look above the hill, I believe that you can get over the hill. And so what you want to do is just tackle it one day at a time. Be willing to try something, and if it doesn't work out, try something else.
Well, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense that you're saying that, if something doesn't work, you definitely want to try something else. And one of the things that I will say to many of the artisans who are out there, especially those who do painting, sculptures, what have you, one of the places where you could go that really works out well, if you go out to restaurants, and many of the restaurants, what you see, you can actually display your art for sale on their walls, because some of the, they have maybe 1 picture or 2 pictures, but you can actually go and ask the restaurant owner, can you display that on the wall, and be willing to work with other artists. So there's several different types of arts, that are displayed. And that looks very well. It's very good. It helps the restaurateur because it's interesting, and it helps the people who are in there. And like you said, with all the social distancing, we're not bringing in, full complements of people. So you may have, 1 or 2 people sitting at a table, eating, and sometimes people are coming in, alone, just basically trying to get around some people. But it actually ensues a conversation to go on. So you're absolutely right. With these types of things, just as with business and artists, especially, you have to think way outside the box, and also think on some of the ways. What we're not looking at is, I know we try to always look forward, and I'm one of those. I'm definitely a futurist, always looking to the future. But I'll tell you, look to the past, because some of the things that we're doing, and definitely the way in which we are having to do things, we take a page out of history and how they did things before we got to the point where we were, everybody was in the marketplace together. How do we get people to the marketplace? So that's some of the things. Well, I want to let the audience know that we've got a treat for you today. We've got a young woman, Princess Ntsiki Ncoco from South Africa, and she's going to be our guest on today. So we're going to bring her on board, and then we're going to talk with her and see what her business does. And you're going to be very interested to know a little bit about this woman and about what she does and where she comes from. So we're going to bring her on now. and we're going to, talk with her. So, hello and welcome to the show, Ntsiki. It's so wonderful to have you here. And so we want you to go on and tell the audience. We told them a little bit about you, but I'd like you to tell them that beautiful story. Where you come from. How did you get here?
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Good afternoon, America. It's afternoon in South Africa. And thank you so much for having me on the show. Thanks, Jerome, for being with me. And my name is Ntsiki. It means blessings. And in short, people call me, they use the nickname Ntsiki, and the surname is Ncoco. I am a Xhosa woman, and I come from the Eastern Cape. It is in South Africa, and there are 9 provinces here. And the province that I come from, I pride in telling you that it is where our first black president comes from, President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, and the team he was working with, actually, all of them, Tate Walter Sisulu, and Tate Tambo, all come from that province, the great leaders who led the country forward to be, in the freedom that we experience today, and it's still going on. As he wrote the book, Long Walk to Freedom, it is still going on. So I come from that province, and I'm just going to tell you just on the last part that what I did in my education, I did my degree in education and in economics. And the combination was looking at the mission that I have and the purpose that I found that this is my purpose in life into
So she's coming all the way to us live from South Africa. So we know that sometimes there may be a slight delay, in the transmission, but that's definitely okay. The beauty of it is that we actually the telecommunications, it actually worked. Having worked in the telecom and worked on some of these different initiatives to make certain that we had telecommunications, we are just so grateful that one of the things that we did not have the biggest issue with during the hardest part of the pandemic, and that during the initial part of the pandemic, and that was that we still had communications. And with that, with us having communications, it actually kept us, at touch points, one with the other. And what I'm seeing, and just as I'm looking forward, down the road, to see this is going to become our main digital is really going to become our mainstay of how we actually do business and who we do business with. So this is
Really.
something that yeah, it's going to be a part of our lives. And um, just recently, here within the last week, Hop In has actually purchased StreamYard for $250 million.
Wow.
And so for us, we're going to become, truly that CNN of of live streaming, broadcasting. At least that's what they're promising us. So we want you to stay tuned, to the broadcast and see they're only going to get better. So we got. It looks like that we were able to reconnect with Ntsiki, and yes, ma'am, you just continue on where just pick up where you left off in what you were telling us about. Is very wonderful to know that you come from the same province as Nelson Mandela there. So we just want to hear a little about your business and who do you serve with your business, with what you do.
all right. All right. Thank you, Yvonne. I do leadership training and development. And I believe that education is very important from all ages and from all levels of education. So, being in the business world, I focus on leadership training and development, and I even move further from development and say advancement, because we need to advance every day, not just be developing but programs and modules, but those programs and modules need to be implemented and executed to develop a personal development, the company development, and the country's development, and spread out to the globe. Why I focus on advancement on leadership is because we have to be able and be capable of competing internationally as the nation, like in South Africa, in Africa, in all levels. So I do a lot of collaboration with other nationals so that we can, learn from other people. And also other people learn from us as personally, as business, as companies as well, companies coming together, like collaborating or, strategically to build the nations together.
Okay. I see you're out on LinkedIn. I wanted to ask you because you are doing just such a robust with your LinkedIn to Win It campaign. And I see that when you talk about collaboration, that you have collaborated with some partners from the
Yes,
UAE. And that looks like just a wonder. Can you talk to
yes.
the audience and tell them a little bit about that campaign and the impact that it's having
All
out
right.
there?
Wow. Wow, that campaign, I was just Googling on LinkedIn, searching how I can get new leads for my business. And I just saw this group, linked in it to win it. And I thought to myself, let me just check. And then I, sent a request to be a member, accepted, in a very short space of time. And then I checked through what is it exactly that they are doing. And, they started when it was lockdown in the beginning of the year. Two young people in the ICT industry started saying, you know what, let's do something online and keep people together. And then people started joining importantly, there, we are writing, building up a content, develop a content. So when I joined in, they will just say on a certain day of the week, it was Tuesday then last year when I joined them, that here is a topic. Let us speak, let us write a content, but it must be in a very short form of a post about that particular word they have chosen. For instance, they chose collaboration and say create a content. Even before creating a content, create a quote about collaboration. Then they take all those who have sent their quotes and they discuss as a committee and see which quote is winning to be the quote that will go on the art that they created, and it will be your post. It shows your name, their link, branding linked in it to win it. It will have someone's quote who has won the quote for that week, and then everybody else will post in their pages and what message is it, and then they encourage us to encourage each other, support each other, go on each other's page and say a comment, read the content and collaborate and comment on it, learn it, the learning curves from each other. And it's different countries, and I see now people are joining in. When I joined, it was about 6,000 members in the group. Now we have gone beyond. And And when I checked in, I was the only South African who was contributing. And now I see at least others are coming in, and I keep on taking a lot of people that I've worked with, and I know they can also, be impacted by this. They can also gain from the campaign. They can also contribute to the campaign, and it helps you also to sharpen your presentation skills, your speech, because now they've even moved into having a Zoom meeting. We had a Zoom meeting, and there will be a topic. We talk about, personal things, building up each other up, and the strength, how to support each other during this time of the pandemic. So it is a wonderful experience. So they will also check who will win the content in that week. So I think I've won really with the codes, with the content more than 3 times. And new people are joining in, and we encourage them as well to write and be, chosen to win. And it has made me to really get in touch with a lot of people around.
That
Excellent.
is just excellent. Okay, go ahead, Jerome.
No, that is excellent to hear. How you're building your business and building your network, and that goes back to the conversation that we were having, Yvonne and I were having earlier, about how you have to
Mhm.
be different in these times. And I think, Princess, you're doing an excellent job in being able to accomplish that goal, and looking at the different ways that you can certainly put together your business and kind of really build upon the platform. And I love the customer group that you're serving there. And I would love to hear, um, can you name someone that has had an impact, tremendous impact on you as a leader or as a business person? And can you name that person and how they've been a mentor to you, or how they were a help to you and helping you to establish your business?
All right. In this kind of question, I'm going to mention a global leader that really gave an impact in my kind of business, especially focusing on leadership. And I would put it in this way, Jerome. The mentorship is not always the one-on-one in person, but in mentoring, as in books, as in programs that I've been to, as in the clips that I receive every day, and also into being in the sessions when he would come to South Africa, and we would sit in maybe in a dinner, a certain group of people in a VIP setup dinner with Dr. John C. Maxwell, and I'll be one of those who have been chosen to sit there and gain the leadership. Even when you're just taking selfies and pictures with him, there's a line you will surely receive as he speaks to you. As you know, it is fun and business at the same time, or fun and breakfast, and or breakfast and learn would be in those sessions, motivational speaking. I've learned a lot from his books, and I think the leadership, in action, let alone from the
Nitsiki, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think we're having just a little bit of a delay there, uh, and just to kind of uh, add on to what you're saying, influence and in these times, who you're going to be able to influence is so important. And how you influence people is so important. I think one of the most important things that we don't get a chance to see is character, and that's something that you can't. Uh, that's something that you can't buy. It's something that you can't purchase off of the shelves. Uh, Character is something that is absolutely huge. And a lot of times in building a startup business or building or financing your next building, your next billion, you would think, character. Oh man, that's that's kind of last on the list. But I'm telling you, there's something about when you can speak from a place of character, and when you're a leader and a leader, and you establish your leadership processes and you establish the principles that you live by, and those things, whether you know it or not, they will come off in an interview with an investor. And Yvonne, as Nitsiki kind of comes back on here, what are your thoughts?
Okay, and I love exactly what you said. And as I was speaking, that reminds me, the conversation I was having with the artisans and telling them that all of those things go in. When you're speaking to an investor, what they really have to be concerned about, and that is, you're talking to a person. You're not simply talking to the money, and you basically really want to know, what you really want to convey. You want to know, who they are, what they do, what they're interested in doing, and you want to make certain that what you are bringing to the table, what value you are, convey the value, the benefits. And you're absolutely right. If your character is going to bleed through no matter what, and they're going to be able, you cannot, there's no smoke and mirrors that can cover up your character. Truly, we can't say, oh, we didn't see that, or we didn't know that that was actually, going to be, because it's going to shine through. And if you come to the table with the I, me, self, attitude or error about how you do things, that's going to come through, and that's not going to bode too well for you. Because if I'm going to the table and I'm asking someone to give me $10 million or $20 million to put that into my project, I have to first be cognizant of what it took for them to actually receive that amount of money, so that they would have that, to be able to give to me. So that's, yeah, character is very, very important. Jerome.
Absolutely no, and that is very essential. And Nitsky, I think we were finishing off there. You were just sharing with us about your leadership and about the impact Dr. Maxwell has made to you. So tell me now, then. So what are you doing to kind of continue to grow and develop? Then during this pandemic, what are you doing to continue to grow and develop?
All right, thank you. During the pandemic, let me say I have developed the associations and partnerships with other companies that are offering the training and development and advancement. And more so, I've identified that we have moved into the technical space, technology space, where everything is online. For me personally and my business, I moved, and was preparing myself to move completely into that space even before the pandemic, because I have a thing of I wanted to be where I want to be, but still want to be able to offer the services of training wherever I am. Online, I can do coaching online, I can do mentorship online, I can do training summits online. So I've prepared myself. So now I have been training online on how to do it, and also signing up partnerships with companies. I think I can really mention that at least three of them that I have, we have Kong partnership that we've signed up our, MOUs, we've signed up our license agreements, and how we're going to roll out. All the modules are ready. to be, rolled out. And I know this is going to be a very great impact. More so, the other part that I love is to educate people through conversations. And I've learned that even our youth, sometimes they don't love the hardcore talks, they love the conversations. And to learn, one thing that I'm really working on, and it is in my heart, is to leave a legacy. And for our inheritance to be known by the new generation, that we can bring in, I've put it in as the real contributors. Bring in a contributor in the marketplace or in the communities and say to that contributor, here is a young person who wants to be mentored or coached. This young person is crying out to say, please, as you rise, lift me up. So I'm bringing those together because I'm also working with the youth, that is youth in the workspace, in the workplace, that is into leadership positions. So they've been crying out for mentorship, for role models. And I thought, if a lot of youth are talking to me about it, it means I can do something about it. So I've collaborated and putting those programs together formally and informally. Conversations, we'll be having now, a talk show of conversations. Bring a real contributor with someone who wants to rise and to learn and be mentored and also be sponsored by that great leader. In that fashion, we will be definitely leaving a legacy and our inheritance can go forward from generation to generation.
Excellent. 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 Yvonne, did you have anything you want to add?
Well, I love the fact that you're doing that on a generational, and you're bringing in the young leaders. That is so important, that what we do, that we don't lose anything, and we also teach the young people about going forward, and not just about going forward, but how to go forward, how to move forward. And so I'm very thankful to you, Ntsiki, for actually taking on that, picking up that mantle and taking that on, and with that leadership and bringing those young people along, because they are just like someone, I'm very sure, brought all of us along, and so now here we are. And so yes, it is our charge to do the same thing, to bring those young people, along behind us, because that's what makes the world better. We can look forward and see what we want, but now we need the hands and the strengths and, the tenacity to actually get the work done. Because as we move forward in time, we have the ideas, and they have, they've got the bronze to actually put it in place. So it works out. It's an excellent partnership. Jerome?
Thank you so
Oh,
much, Yvonne.
oh,
Thank you.
no,
You're welcome.
absolutely. I certainly agree, and certainly reaching out to that future generation is huge, and reaching out to that future generation really is going to make an impact and make a difference. And one of the things that we want to ask is, this is financing your next billion show. If you were sitting in front of an investor right now, what would you say about you and your company?
I would say my company has a vast experience, and in a particular way, the focus now is on really building the leadership. Like the greatest writer of leadership puts it in that short quote that is well loved, everything rises and falls on leadership, by John C. Maxwell. So if we had everything right from the leadership, and we evaluate, every term of leadership when they go on in their term and serving us, we would make it right, because we don't have to wait for things to fall apart after a long time. So I would say to an investor, I have a master plan already because of my experience. I have a master plan that I've worked on rolling out of strategic projects to change the landscape of the continent of Africa, not just South Africa, Africa and the globe, and to dovetail and to work together as a globe. Now, why am I saying that? It's because we have seen that through this pandemic. We are not different and we are not separated from each other. We are one as the globe. But definitely, we will have to break it down into the short term, medium term, and the long term. The short term would be I'm serving South Africa, the medium term, I'm serving South Africa leadership and also Africa and into the globe. Because really, the impact that we have to be now is to influence our key leaders to lead with integrity. If the integrity was there, we would not have the African continent and the leadership falling apart or disappointing us when they are in positions. We would have the leaders that are looking after their people. In leadership, if you don't care for the people, then it surely shows that the company can go down. So I would put it in front of my investors that they can invest in my company because we have a master plan that is ready to be rolled out. I've collaborated, with Africa and around the globe with a company that is overseeing a lot of rolling out of that big project that is going to rebuild us all.
That is awesome. Just to hear your vision of global connection and your vision of global partnership and your vision of infusing the leadership skills, the leadership values, the leadership training, and helping them to prepare for that next level that is not only needed, but it's also necessary. And that's something that investors are always looking for, something that is not only needed, but also necessary because it's one thing that, hey, I've got to have a drink of water, but it's something else when it's absolutely necessary. And I agree with you that
Yeah.
it's absolutely essential for Africa and for the entire world to be on a same page. And by having those leadership values and having those leadership trainings and rolling out your master plan, that's going to be something very effective for the future. Yvonne, did you have anything else you want to add
Thank
towards
you.
that?
Thank you, Julie.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think we have covered the gamut, and I like to leave the audience wanting more, as I want to hear more about that
Yeah.
leadership plan. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to invite Princess Ntsiki Ncoco of South Africa to come back to us again to come on to the show and to share with us some little tidbits and tips on her leadership program. I like the way she put that. She said she had the short term, the medium term, and then the global. So that's something I think we could all benefit from, actually seeing that plan and seeing how we could integrate and incorporate that, into what it is that we do and begin to do that, begin that groundswell. So I'm looking very much forward to having her, to come back onto the show. I'm going to bring her in one last time, and we just kind of hear some closing words or some closing thoughts from her, and and then that'll wrap up our show for today. And we are always looking forward to you coming and joining us for the next show. So, Ntsiki, if you could just give us your last thoughts that you want to leave with the audience, and what are some final things you want them to know and to understand. And I've already invited you back to come on the show, and we want to take a little bit more in-depth look the next time we have you on the show at that master
All
plan,
right.
so people can begin to integrate that into what they are doing. So, what are some last thoughts that you want to leave with the audience for today on today's show?
Thank you so much, Yvonne. It is very important for each and every person in leadership, especially at this time, to know your contribution compass. Know the strengths that you have to do business. Most of us have done assessments as leaders and knowing who you are and how you contribute. Amazingly so, I have done another assessment, and I always thought, Yvonne, I'm a catalyst, I am a coach, I'm a champion, and yes, those things I am, and I do them very well. But I have been now assessed and rebranded as a connector. I know my key niche is being a business connector and a global connector. And when I sat back and looked at it, I have realized that honestly, this is who I am. All others led me to be in this particular position that I have to be now at this time in the globe or at this level of my life in business and personal in the globe so that I can connect people. I know where to get what skills, I know where to get who to come together with who to do the project. And then we know that project is not just for personally for me, for my company or my family only, but it's for the country, it's for the continent, and it's for us in the globe. So I leave everybody with that. Find out who you are exactly and know how to contribute to make this nation go forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ntsiki. I love this. And I want to say thank you to my co host here, and thank you to the audience for tuning in on this episode of Financing Your Next Billion. And we have been live with Princess Ntsiki Ncoco of South Africa. And we thank her for the contribution that she has given to us. And we look forward to actually being able to understand more details about the master plan she has. And like she said, everyone look to understand what is your purpose and what do you actually bring and begin to walk in that purpose. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the broadcast. Have a wonderful day.
Financing your next $1 billion? Contact us to be a guest. Join us for the next show.